If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Good to have you on board. We are live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy hour coming up. We'll get into the playoff card that we have tonight, NBA and the NHL in 15 minutes. Also a plethora of props to throw at you at the bottom of the hour here. We'll get best bets in soccer as Steve Wist joins the program in his normal Thursday spot. You can follow him on X. He is at Meatman Soccer with the Nordic Football Pod. And because we win, and he is on the progressive guest line. Steve, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing really well, thank you, guys. Hope it's been a good show so far.
Yeah, let's get at it here with a lot to get into with soccer, obviously, over the weekend. You've been finding ways to try to fade this horrific Leicester team for a long time here on this program. So you have a bet on their match and a very creative angle with a prop that you like. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, this is Leicester versus Southampton. I've been trying to fade both teams this season regularly. They're two of the worst teams the Premier League's ever seen. So what we've got to do with this game is kind of don't look at the stats and trends for the season, because we can't judge them against most of the teams in the Premier League because they're so bad. But these two now are quite evenly matched. So it's actually a proper game. It's actually going to be worth watching. This is going to be a fixture next season in the Championship in the second division. And I think both teams will want to lay down a marker for that next season, get a mental edge, show them who's boss sort of thing. And I think we're going to get a wide open game. So a straight pick, over 2.5 goals, minus 137. There's a history of goals in this fixture. The reverse match ended 3-2 to Leicester. Last season, Leicester actually beat Southampton 5-0 here and also 4-1. So there's a lot of goals when these two teams meet usually. And then, yeah, I really like Jamie Vardy to be carded, a club legend. He scored the most ever Premier League goals for Leicester, but he's leaving the club at the end of the season. He's confirmed that. So I just think in his last two home games, he's going to be desperate to score. So you could look at maybe backing him to score any time. But I like him to be carded because if he scores a goal, that shirt is coming off and the referee has to give a yellow card if that happens, or an over-celebration. And any sort of over-celebration will get a yellow card automatically. And, you know, he's going to be psyched up. He's going to be wound up. He might just get a yellow card by a stupid tackle as well. So I think it's a really good play. You could also back him to score and be carded about 12-1.
Okay.
That would be an interesting combo.
Not bad. Love the breakdown and the celebration. Excellent. Sunday, West Ham and Tottenham. You want to back West Ham. Tell us why.
I had a terrible bad beat with West Ham last week.
Oh.
They were going to win for me on a big price, plus 350, and they conceded 2 late goals, but I'm going to back them again. Hopefully they don't put me in misery this weekend, but I've got to fade Tottenham Tottenham have just played in the Europa League. That is all that matters for them this season now in that competition. In the Premier League, they've lost 6 of their last 8 games. One of those matches they didn't lose was against Southampton, so that doesn't really count. They're just a clear fade whilst they're still in the Europa League. So I'm willing to give West Ham another try at plus 125. I know that they've not won in the last 7. I know they're putting a lot of people off, and I know they've cost a lot of people money recently, especially they couldn't even beat Southampton at home. But I mean, I actually quite liked what I saw from West Ham last week. They played really well for 89 minutes, and then they concede 2 late goals. So if they play like that again, they'll beat a Tottenham team who may well sit quite a lot of their starters. So I've got to oppose Spurs. West Ham money line plus 125.
All right, and let's go to a total on Monday. Nottingham Forest just played. Big loss, bad loss. Got beat at home by Brentford 2-0. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest.
Terrible loss and a really bad loss for their backers who basically bet on them to finish in the top 5.
Yep. For
the fans as well. And the big problem for Forest is they never really look like scoring in this match. And if they concede the first goal, they have big problems. This is the Monday match. I think it's going to be a bit of a damp squib of an affair, a really tight, cagey, low-scoring match. Crystal Palace, there's only one match that matters for them now this season. That's the FA Cup final against Manchester City. So their heads are going to be in the clouds a little bit. These two sides here rank third and fourth most for under 2.5 goal games in the Premier League this season. And there's no reason to suggest that the style's suddenly going to change just because we're into May here. Forest only play one that sort of direction, counter-attacking soccer. On the break, sit deep. Forest will be desperate not to concede the first goal here, so I think they might be even more defensive than normal. And Crystal Palace just want to save their legs, save their energy. No one wants to get injured. So I think it's under 2.5 goals is the play, minus 110. I don't really fancy any of these teams to score that many goals in this match. I'm not saying the 0-0 detector's out because Forest might have to push for a late goal, a late winner. I actually think Forest might nick this 1-0 or something. Because the motivation factor is with them. But under 2.5 looks like the best play.
All right, follow the money. Paulie and Mitch Vison, the Sports Betting Network. Steve Wiss, our guest, a Meat Man Soccer on X, on the Progressive guest line. It's the final game in the lower leagues and the final match for the championship. If Leeds wins, they win the league. They're tied with Burnley. Also, you have a couple teams you want to oppose with the relegation that they have nothing to play for. Anything that caught your eye with the final day of the matches here? Let's start in the Championship League.
Well, yeah, two match bets to start with. I'm going to go Norwich -1 Asian handicap at +107. Now, Norwich, both teams have only won one of their last 11 games, so both are in terrible form. But Cardiff have just had a massive mental blow by basically official confirmation that they are relegated. So that is a really bad spot for them. You know, the first game after a team's been relegated is often a real sucker punch, a flat performance. You know, it's the last game of the season away from home. They can't even sell their allocation of tickets for the fans. I mean, why would the fans want to travel for this game when they've just been relegated? It's a real misery sort of picture for Cardiff. So I think Norwich can take advantage of that and finish with a home win. They've got a couple of players who are in the mixer for the Golden Boot race, the top scorer, Josh Sargent, Borja Sainz. And they've also got an interim manager, Jack Wilshere, who used to play soccer for Arsenal, quite a famous player, actually, who's starting to make his way in the managerial game. And he'll want to kind of put in a bit of a job interview here for the summer. He might get the job full time. I don't think he will. So I think Norwich can finish with a good win here. I wouldn't be surprised if they rack up quite a big win, 3-4-0 sort of territory, because Cardiff are absolutely done. So I'm going to oppose them. And then Plymouth Leeds, over 3.5 goals. Leeds just need to win the actual match, and they are champions. They've scored 93 goals, Leeds. So I do think if they might be eyeing up trying to score 100 goals if possible, might be asking too much. But if they get 3 or 4 goals, you know, say by an hour gone, then they might think about racking up the score big here. Plymouth, they're another team. They're not officially relegated, but they kind of are with a terrible goal difference. So the game's up for them as well, a bit deflated. I actually think they'll give it a go here and have a bit of a swing. They might score a goal, which is why I like over 3.5 goals, +130. Leeds can cover the goal line on their own if we need them to, but Plymouth might be able to contribute as well. By the way, Plymouth have conceded 86 goals this season. It's a shocking defence. Leeds could absolutely feast.
Sounds good. How about an early look at next year and what Wrexham was able to accomplish for the first time in history to go back-to-back promotions? What do you think of Wrexham and Birmingham City, with Tom Brady being an owner, their chances to go up to the Premier League now that they're one level short?
Well, 2 years ago, Ipswich got directly promoted from League One and then immediately got promoted to the Premier League in the first season in the Championship. So there's a history of this happening. And Wrexham and Birmingham are very well supported. We know they're going to be very well funded as well. And there's going to be a lot of hype about them during the summer. I think they're going to be buying quite a few big players here. And what will happen, if you like these teams to do well, get promoted, win the league, finish in the top 6, you want to get on early, because I think come, end of July, start of August, there's going to be a mad rush of bets on these teams. And they may end up having squads which are quite strong. I personally see them definitely in the top 10, both of them. And I think it wouldn't honestly be a surprise to me if they both even finish in the playoff positions. I think there's a serious, both teams, both clubs are really well run at the minute, massive ambitions. They want to get into the Premier League, but the hype is going to be absolutely crazy and through the roof. So can the players deal with that pressure? That's probably the only really big, dangerous question.
How popular is the Wrexham club over there? Like outside of that region, are they like the entire country and beyond that? Have they kind of fallen in love with this team?
No, it's the other way. Everyone hates them because
yeah.
it's not seen as organic. Yeah, it's not seen as organic. You see, they're not very well liked. Birmingham a bit more under the radar actually. I think maybe a bit of better marketing, and they're a bit more of a traditional club as well. Birmingham, Wrexham are a traditional club back in the day as well. But Wrexham are not liked really. It's a bit of a shame really because I actually quite like the story myself, and it's been popular.
They don't like the Hollywood angle and the TV show and everything. The rise has been, again, it's never happened before. You got to go back 1888. They've been doing this.
It's jealousy. It's just jealousy, isn't it? I mean, I quite like that a different team is getting back to you. And I mean, look, Newcastle are funded by, mega rich like Saudi Arabian investors. Why can't Wrexham be funded and invested by Hollywood? It's just jealousy, guys. And but at the end of the day, it's all entertainment. It's getting bums on seats, and it's actually good for the game over here. But a lot of fans don't see that, and a lot of the media don't even see that sometimes. But I think both sides are going to be got to be respected. This from a pure sporting perspective and a betting perspective, we've got to give them a lot of respect because there's an excellent chance they can finish in the top 10.
Jealous, and also the bitterness has got to be just off the charts, I would think, probably. That makes some sense. You can follow Steve on X. He's at Meatman Soccer. Dynamite Analysis is always the Nordic Football Podcast, and also Because We Win. Thanks, Steve. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Steve Wiss, and he was on the Progressive Guest Line today. I didn't know which way to ask it. It was one or the other. Because I was not surprised, actually, that people hate him.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, isn't
there a Lasso thing type going on, though? Isn't it a Ted Lasso? I mean...
I don't think they like Lasso, though, either, do they? I remember Nigel put his nose up at it.
Well...
Scoffed at the idea of Ted Lasso.
Well, there's probably, they made it look easy, though. I mean, to think that it's never happened. They come in right away with Reynolds, and they go back-to-back-to-back promotions. It's...
NBA, NHL playoff cards tonight, including an angle that is hitting at 67% of the time so far.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Playoffs tonight. So here's the angle, Paulie. The Knicks are off of a playoff loss. The Clippers are also off a loss. Both teams in action tonight. Knicks on the road, Clippers at home. Teams off of a straight-up loss so far in the playoffs are 20-10 ATS in the next game. 67%. The bounce back. Happened last night with Houston, did not happen with the Lakers.
Hell of a job by the Rockets. How about Kerr waving the flag early?
Immediately in the game.
He talked to the players. He said, okay, let's shut it down. We're on to game 6. And then Udoka's got to bring his starters back in.
He brought in, I think, the third stringers last night. Kerr did. They made a huge run. They were playing with a ton of passion and heart. And then you're exactly right. Udoka's hold on a second here.
If you laddered Moody props, hello. Incredible what happened. So to go up tempo and what they did offensively, and again led by Van Vliet, I cannot say that. And now it's intriguing tomorrow because you see Curry's thumb.
Oh yes.
How do you not bet his props under now? And good for Brooks to just say, yeah, I'm going to go after it. Of course. I mean, why not? Everyone knows about it. Then you saw the picture when he's holding the bag. I mean, that thing is massive what happened to his thumb, and that's I think going to give him problems. And I bet under 4.5 made threes tomorrow.
How are the Warriors going to score against Minnesota if they win this series?
It should be a problem, right? Now, it was playoff. Jimmy didn't show up. Right. That was the first thing. But I know if the Lakers couldn't get much with Luka, and still what Reeves was terrible. But what you got out of Hachimura, and then you have Luka and LeBron, and still a lot of those games the Lakers struggled to score.
So it's going to have to be Curry and Butler playing out of their minds for an entire series. And you're going to have to get some help, which I don't know where it's going to come from against this Minnesota team.
Yeah, it's got to be outside, too, because they can't go to the basket.
Oh, Golden State will get absolutely nothing down low.
Uh-huh.
No, they have no presence whatsoever, and then you have Gobert, who's just roaming around, and good luck driving against that. Again, you're not going to get that game out of Gobert again, but good for him. That was probably the best game he's ever had his entire career. He was, what would they say? He was one basket away from his first ever 30-20 game?
Yeah.
He was great. And did you see Shaq at halftime? He hated to admit it. He was like pretending to dry heave. He's like, ugh, Gobert, ugh. Gobert's absolutely dominating this game. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Gobert's dominating the game. He was.
Well, he was in a tough spot, though, too. That's what you give up because you want to get more scoring. But then he didn't. To not play Hayes at all, I mean, yeah. It was hard, though. I actually think Redick made a good case, though, that just they missed a lot of layups. They missed a lot of wide-open looks, and that's what did them in. And Minnesota was a better team, and it was a tough matchup for them. I mean, to think that they were that bad from three, and they still won the game going away.
Yeah. They controlled the game.
But Los Angeles had no depth, and he didn't trust anybody. I mean, he's got Kleba out there. Think about that.
I was stunned when he put him on the court.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's what you can't do. So I think he has a bright future as a coach, but it's they got to make changes in the offseason, and they got to get a big guy. But they will. They also thought they had a big guy. You know, I'd like to go back to know what the hell happened with that physical, where they flunked him. So
you know who's going to end up there next year? It's going to be Brook Lopez playing center.
You know what pisses me off?
That's the guy.
Maybe 3 years in a row they could have had Miles Turner, and for nothing, just give up one of those picks.
Right.
Which it worked out, they got Luka, but the other pick was going to be for Williams, the kid from Charlotte.
Yeah.
Miles Turner was available for years. Imagine him on that team. That guy's good with a great inside-outside game and those ferocious dunks he had against Milwaukee. That guy was available for 4 years.
Yeah, Turner's very good. So, obviously, again, they made the trade for Luka for the future, not for this year. So they're just going to have to, I guess we can say we all have to trust Pelinka after that deal, although
he's got a job for life.
I'm willing to bet that he'll never have an offer like that ever again. I mean, nobody ever will probably in the NBA. Again, you have to take the trade.
It's the dumbest trade in NBA history.
Sure,
absolutely, you take that.
And now you just have to build up the pieces around it and come back next year and swing for the fences there.
I still thought they were dangerous. I mean, they went into OKC and buried them. They came back 2 days later. It's a tie game. Late in the game till Luka got kicked out. But it didn't work out this time with this series. But now how many years does LeBron have left? Barkley made the comment that he was exhausted and didn't have much left because he was settling for jumpers. But, I know he's up there in age, but the comeback is you played Sunday afternoon. You were off till Wednesday night. I don't think fatigue should have been that big of a factor.
You like the Pistons tonight? Going against what I just said? Again, teams off of a straight-up loss are 20-10 ATS in the next game in the playoffs so far?
Yeah. It has been a weird series, though. And again, Detroit hasn't won a home game, lost 9 straight playoff games.
Well, look at that tick. We went from 213.5 to 215 in the total.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. So, listen, they have the same defensive numbers as Miami. So they should, a top 10, like the 10th or 11th ranked defense shouldn't be giving the Knicks this much problems and what they've had in these issues. And Brunson put it on them. On himself, and took the blame in the last game for not getting people involved, and he also was 4 of 16. So it's been a weird series where, again, the road teams enjoyed all the success, and the Knicks have come out hot on the road as opposed to home. But I don't want the over, and the other thing here is now the pressure's on the Knicks too, which Detroit can come in, and a lot of people didn't give them a chance to win this series. Again, the ESPN jinx. Every single person picked the Knicks to win this series as well, and short. 5 or 6, but the series price was out of whack for them to be a $4 favorite, and I think that what happens in the first quarter is going to be big as well.
Let me bring this up. I cannot wait to see all of the mainstream predictions if we do get Warriors, Timberwolves in the next round. I have a pretty good idea of where that's going to land with the picks and the predictions. And
Minnesota would have home court.
Oh, I mean, it's not a good matchup for Golden State at all.
Uh-huh.
So... But what does ESPN love? They love the Cowboys, they love the Lakers, and they love Golden State. And that's all they ever talk about. So most people at ESPN, my guess is anyway, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and they'll come around to Minnesota, but I'm guessing especially if Golden State has a great Game 6 and Curry's thumb does not bother him, and they win that game and they cover, they look great doing so, my guess is everybody will pick Golden State to win probably like in 6 games. You know what to do. You know what to do at that point.
Yep. I'm waiting on this great performance from the Knicks, which other than the fourth quarter run of Game 1, it hasn't been there.
No.
There's too much talent on offense to look like this and not go off. Cat's had his moments. Brunson's had his moments. I give him credit, though, he's playing through injuries. But you have, with the acquisition of Bridges and the trade of Cat and OG and all these guys, they have to do a better job. And it starts with Brunson, but I don't trust him, and I think the Pistons can send this back to the Garden.
So money on the over coming in 2 hours before tip time. I would agree with you. I like the other side. Maybe this keeps going up to 215.5 or so, and you can grab a better number to go under at that point if, in fact, you're with us and you like the under in that game. The other one, now the Clippers, they were 7, and that was hanging out. You had plenty of opportunity to grab 7 with Denver if you liked it. Now it's not available. Although some books still have 6.5 on the Clippers. Others have moved it all the way down to 6 total, sitting currently at 212.5, right around there, or 212.
No, it's out of whack. If Harden's going to play like this, they're going home tonight. And I don't expect Harden to bounce back. The other thing I can't believe is an interim coach is doing a good job here against Lou and Van Gundy and pressing all the right buttons, which he gambled in Game 4 when he wouldn't go to the bench and almost backfired, but they were up 20, and that's Game 3 was a fluke. And then they dominate and blow them out in the last game, and then they're up 20 in the fourth quarter of Game 4. So you thought the Clippers had this up 2-1, and now I think Denver gets them again tonight. I think the price is outrageous for the Clippers to be laying 7. Denver as the better player, the best player. Harden, who was great in Game 1, has done nothing and has been timid and not aggressive. And I don't know who I can count on with the supporting cast. Again, a lot of this doesn't make sense as well. Denver has the 21st ranked defense. Why aren't you attacking and getting the matchups that you want? And they're not doing that. And a big reason why is Harden. And then Batum's been up and down. Bogdanovich got minutes. He can score, but he can't guard any people. Powell's been up and down. Very disappointed in the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the one blowout win for the Clippers so far in the series, that's been the outlier. Right? Because the Nuggets have been right there with them the rest of the way.
Yes, right. Mm-hmm. But then what Westbrook did in the last game, how they got Porter going, what Brown's doing, and Joker getting everyone involved.
So will Russ have that kind of a game again tonight? I have no idea.
Well, that I doubt. But
will he score? Will he have 12 tonight? I think they would sign up for 10 or 12 points out of him right now if you said it was going to be a close game. But you're not going to get anything else off the bench. They don't even play anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You might get 6-7 minutes here from another guy or two, but that's it.
7-point favorite, 6.5. They were dominated 7 of the last 8 quarters, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't get it.
Yep.
I don't get it. Doesn't make sense.
Nope. All right, so I'm on vsin.com right now. I clicked on the betting splits for these 2 games tonight. And if you want to go check it out, you can get it for as low as $9.99 for your first month when you become a vSIN Pro subscriber at vsin.com/subscribe. It's always a fun tool to look at. You can compare the numbers over at DraftKings, which a national book. They have they're in a ton of states, obviously. Compare their numbers to Circa. They're in 5 states. They take a lot of sharp money. You're going to see a lot of differences every single game in every sport that you look at. The betting splits. Become a vSIN Pro subscriber today at vsin.com/subscribe. Again, as low as $9.99 per month, which will lead us into a plethora of props coming up next. This player got me good in the last game, but I'm right back on the horse again tonight.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Really good night again tonight in sports. A couple in the NBA, 4 in the MLB, and 4 huge games in the hockey playoffs in NHL. And Jonathan Davis, our very own NHL betting analyst here, joins the program now on the Progressive Guest Line for 2 full segments to talk about the games. Jonathan, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Oh, guys, I'm doing great. We are, an hour away from puck drop in Ottawa. It is going to be electric there at that game tonight.
Okay, so let's begin with that game, obviously, then, because we've been talking about it for 2 days now, like betting the Maple Leafs tonight compared to a Game 7, if in fact Ottawa would win tonight. and how tight it would be in that arena. Start by telling the audience about the fertility for the Maple Leafs in this spot over the years.
So 1-13 in closeout games are Toronto, 0-30 on the power play since 2018. The last power play goal they scored was by Jake Gardiner, who is no longer in the NHL. That was in 2017.
And that's power play in elimination games, 0-30 in that time, which seems like it's completely made up.
You would think. But that's with Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, and to a lesser degree, John Tavares.
Right.
It's shocking that is the case. But, look, this has been my criticism of Matthews and Marner for quite some time. They love to win. They don't hate to lose. They're not Nathan McKinnon, who would run over his mother. And until they do hate to lose, this team won't win.
Okay, excellent. So the other thing I cannot believe is the fans and media are all over them, and they come out after getting shut out and say we're fine after losing the last 2 games. So imagine if Ottawa gets the lead tonight. You come out with that statement, and then you could fall behind, and then the building's really up for grabs. So your thoughts on those comments, and also how important the first goal is tonight in this game if the Leafs fall behind?
Well, yeah, I didn't like the comments from Mitch Marner, but I wasn't surprised by them. And Brady Tkachuk was asked after the game by Kyle Bukauskas from Hockey Night in Canada, are you guys in the Leafs' heads? And he said, yeah, I think we are. It is absolutely important for the Leafs to score the first goal. And look, the trend has been that the team that loses the previous game, scores the first goal the next game. I think it's 22-10 heading into tonight. So it's super important for Toronto to score that first goal and take the crowd out of it.
Okay, so which players then? You just talked about your lack of trust in these players, some of them anyway, because they love to win. They don't hate to lose, and I get your point there. So far in the series, Matthews has 18 shots on goal. Tavares has 16. Nylander has 14. Tavares is 2.5 over his minus 15 cents. Is there a player there? Is there somebody else who you're like, okay, I think that he's going to get his shots, and you trust him with like one of his props?
Well, you could target Tavares at over 2.5. You could even target, from the Leafs' perspective, Max Pacioretty at over 1.5. He's been bumped up to the second line tonight. So I could see value in both those guys. I think Pacioretty's gone like 9 straight or 9 of his last 10 games over 1.5 shots. Now, he's been used, he's been in and out of the lineup dealing with injury, but that's not a bad play. For me, though, the best play is Brady Tkachuk, over 3.5 shots. You're paying a bit of juice. You can actually reduce the juice if you go to FanDuel. I think they're the one site that offers a regulation-only line. But Brady Tkachuk is the guy that carries this team. He's had more than, I think, 5 or more in all but one game in this series. That's the one shot prop that I'm riding tonight.
Okay. Then do you want to plunk down some money here on the Maple Leafs to win the game at plus money? Because if they lose, you know that they're going to be laying a pretty heavy price in Game 7.
The only way I play Toronto tonight, I don't. I mean,
okay.
If I play Toronto, I would play them on the reverse puck line at minus 1.5, and I think it's plus 240. 11 of the 15 dogs, and that's what Toronto is tonight, that have won the games in the playoffs have covered that reverse puck line. So for me, if you like Toronto, play the reverse puck line.
All right.
I like third period over 2,
Yep.
And I like an empty net goal in this one. I think those are both safe plays.
Okay, and every game last night had an empty net as well. How about first period over 2?
I'm staying off.
Okay.
I'm being conservative tonight. Like I said, I love Brady Tkachuk. Like for me, that's the best play on the board. Tkachuk to go over his shots on goal prop.
All right, I know what you're doing in the Vegas game at 4:40 Pacific. At DraftKings, Golden Knights $1.65. But as Mitch has said, if you're out in Nevada, wait. If you want the Wild and plus the 1.5, all 5 games, the first period has gone over. Right back with it?
Yeah, right back with it. 5-0, as you just said, to the first period over. 4-1 to both teams to score in the first period. Again, if you want to play the trend, the losing team scores the first goal of the game. That one is, I think, 3-1 in this series. So you could play Minnesota to score the first goal. But if you're going to play a side, I agree with Mitch. You can only play Minnesota at this price unless you want to come back with Vegas at -1.5 and +155. Again, just because favorites have covered the puck line in about 70% of the games that they have won this year. I like the third period over 2. I like an empty net goal in this one as well.
All right.
I would stay away from the second period over. Vegas has only 2 second period goals in the series. The Wild only have 4.
What are we laying for juice with your angle if it's scoreless after 1 in play, which is second period 6-1 over? How significant's the juice on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, you can. What I tend to do with that, Paulie, is that you may have to lay about 170 off the top, and I'll do that. I'll split my bet. I'll make a small play, at a big price, and then hope that we don't get a really quick goal, and then add to that bet. But if you get 0-0, look, I don't think we're getting 0-0 in this Vegas game after 1, but in general, that's what I've done with those games that have gone 0-0 after the first period.
What do we know at this point? Again, they're going to drop the puck in less than 90 minutes about the Wild goaltender here, Gustafsson, who had to leave the game early. He was sick in Game 5.
Yeah, and this guy also got sick during the Four Nations tournament as well. So, I don't know what it is, but he's good to go. Now, on the Vegas side, no Pavel Dorofeev, their leading goal scorer during the regular season. He is out. Victor Olofsson replaces Dorofeev on the power play and the number 1 power play for Vegas. Mark Stone goes up to the top unit. So Vegas is their shutdown unit is also probably their most skilled offensive unit. It's going to have Stone, Eichel, and Carlson. Their job not only to score is to try to shut down Boldy, Kaprizov, and Joel Eriksson-Ek. That's what they've been entrusted for tonight.
Which player props you want to go to war with here? Paulie brought up Stone over 1.5 shots on goal. I think that you're going to like Eichel, but how do you want to approach it here? Do you want to go over shots on goal with him? Do you want to go with a point scored and assist?
My first one, I would go Eichel over 2.5. I mean, look, Game 5, everything was funneled through Jack Eichel. I think he had 5 or 6 shots. So I would even be tempted to ladder him. What I would do is I would go over 2.5 in regulation if you can make that play. That way you reduce the juice. And then I go over 3.5 full game. You're going to still get plus money on that. So that's the way I'm approaching Jack Eichel tonight. And then I also parlayed Kaprizov and Boldy over 0.5 point. I got it about -135, I think it was. I just think, look, Boldy's had points in all but 1. Kaprizov has had a point in every game. I just think it's too good to pass up.
All right. Colorado's up to $1.95 in some spots. It's been a different series, especially what they've done offensively since Game 1 when they've gone at home as opposed to the road games in Dallas. No respect for Dallas. They came in on an 8-game losing streak, but here they are, 1 win away from advancing. I'll file this away, too. If Dallas loses, you got DeBoer in Game 7, that angle as well. 6.5 the total. What do you think here if Colorado forces a Game 7?
Well, like what Mitch was saying about Vegas, there's only one side that you could play for me, just strictly on the number, and that's Dallas. I think Colorado wins. I played Colorado to score first in this game today. You could also play them to score first in the first period. Their previous 2 losses in this series, they've scored a first period. They've scored a first period goal and the first goal in the next game. I just played them to score the first goal at about -140, but you can get it at even money if you wanted to play them to score the first goal of the first period. And then Nathan MacKinnon, Mitch, you talked about it earlier in the show. I played him over 3.5. I could see laddering him up, over 4.5 and even over 5.5 as well. Everything's going to go through Nathan MacKinnon. It always does. That to me is the best play. And again, over 2 in the third period and an empty net goal as well in this one.
Yeah, you can find plus money, by the way. I'm looking at BetMGM for these games, most of them anyway that I've seen so far, to get an empty net goal by any of the teams actually at any point in the game. So MacKinnon, but this stretch has been nuts, man. 31 shots on goal in 5 games. He's gone over 6.5 shots on goal in 3 of them. So you liked over 3.5, like you talked about, and maybe some juice there. What about Mikko Rantanen tonight, who's also been very, very good with the shots on goal in this series?
Yeah, Mitch, thanks for reminding me on that one. Yeah, Rantanen over 2.5 tonight. I think he's cashed that in all but 1 game in the playoffs, and he scored a goal in the last game. But yeah, I absolutely on Rantanen over 2.5. And if you're looking for a Dallas player, and I haven't played this, but if you're looking for a Dallas player to score a goal tonight, Wyatt Johnston, who got his first 2 goals of the series in game number 5, he had 7 road goals last year in the playoffs in 9 games. always a good bet. I love Wyatt Johnston. I may end up sprinkling on it, but that's one Dallas player that rises to the occasion.
Okay. Of all the bets that we talked about so far, would you have a best one, or do you like them all pretty much the same?
Well, I would say for me right now, what we've talked about, McKinnon and Tkachuk are my two favorite shots on goal props. Those would be my favorite, right? Those would be my two best of the shots on goal that we've discussed.
All right, hang tight. More with Jonathan Davis up next, VSiN's very own NHL betting analyst. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. We will get into the other game on the board, which is the Kings and the Oilers. Can he make a case for the Kings in this game tonight? And we got to get into Game 6, Blues-Jets, and also the series price and the Hurricanes and Capitals coming up next here on Follow the Money.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue hitting the NHL playoffs with VSiN's very own NHL betting analyst, Jonathan Davis, as he's on the Progressive Guest Line. We hit the first three games tonight, and now the last one here, Jonathan, and it's Edmonton now back at home against the LA Kings. Boy, how this series shifted like in a heartbeat, and I haven't heard too many people make a case for the Kings to bounce back and win this game tonight. Can you make a case to bet them?
No. Well, again, strictly on the price, sure, but I mean, no, I can't. I mean, look, this team just has to be, mind screwed. Really, I mean, for what they've gone through the last 3 years and what they've gone through over these last three games, you have to be really concerned where their heads are at. I mean, since the third period of Game 4, guys, they've been outshot 79-35. It's ridiculous. Adrian Kempe leads the league in points in the playoffs. He's a -7. Anze Kopitar is third, tied for third in points. He's a two-time Selke winner. He's a -5. They can't play Edmonton 5-on-5 because they're playing essentially with 9 forwards, and it's killing them. And it's killing their blue line as well because, look, through Game 4, they played essentially 4.5 defensemen. So it's hard.
Yep.
Like before the series started, Edmonton was the deeper team, or LA was the deeper team. But the way that the Oilers have come on and the way that the guys that were injured prior to the playoffs have gotten healthier, Edmonton is the deeper team.
How much blame does Hiller get? You've been covering hockey since 1988 between the decision to go prevent defense in the Game 4, and then you called it the worst challenge you've ever seen in Game 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been coaching malpractice, to be honest with you. It's horrible what's going on, it just seems like he has been absolutely outcoached. And for an LA team that prided itself on really playing everybody during the regular season, I don't understand what's going on. Like they've got a center in Sammy Helenius. He's their fourth line center. He's 6'6". He has played, I looked the last 2 games, guys, he's played a combined roughly 6 minutes. He's had 7 hits in 6 minutes of ice time. He should be out there more. Use your bench, use your size. Like they were playing with a fourth line center, Blake Lizotte, who was like 5'0". They added some size. They're not taking advantage of what they've got. They just don't trust. They don't trust their players. They don't trust their younger players. And that's been an organizational flaw that goes beyond the coach for a number of years.
Interesting. So the 14-1 overrun came to an end with Kempe shots on goal. He was plus money to have an assist last game that cashed. What do you want to do with Kempe props?
I'm not touching him. Okay. I was talking to some Oilers people when they were in town here for Game 5, and Edmonton is just making a point of pounding him. And I'll back off. Like for me, Evander Kane over 2.5 shots on goal is the one shot prop that I really like in this one. He's had like 14 shots or 13 shots the last 3 games. He's had at least 4 in each of the last 3 games. This is a guy was out for the entire year. Got off to a slow start in game 2, but games 3, 4, and 5, he's been an absolute beast for the Oilers. You're getting him at plus money, and I've tied Kane into a parlay both with McDavid and Draisaitl to each get a point, and you're getting that at plus money if you with the Kane shots and both Leon and Connor to get a point. I think it's like 18 straight games or something for Leon that he's had a point against the Kings in the playoffs, and I think Connor is 14 of the last 15.
True or false, Jonathan? If Edmonton wins the game tonight, they will be skating for the cup again this year.
No, I say false. I think that it's either going to be Vegas or Dallas that will represent the West. I just don't trust ultimately, the goaltending in Edmonton, and especially if Ekholm isn't back for Edmonton for round 2, I just don't see how they can get away with it against either Vegas or Dallas.
Okay. Right. How about tomorrow, the only game? St. Louis is $1.15. It was a costly win for the Jets. Scheifele didn't make the trip. He got hurt. They couldn't capitalize on the 4-minute power play. They did win the game, though, and they were, again, Hellebuck gave up 2 goals on the first 7 shots, though. How about the numbers you have on Hellebuck on the road? And what do you think about the Blues forcing a Game 7 tomorrow?
I like them to force a Game 7. I mean, Hellebuck just 1 win in his last 9 road playoff games. The Blues have won 14 in a row at home. They're going to have to play much better, though, than they did in Game 5. That was, Jim Montgomery talked about it. We were just awful, plain and simple. So it's, put that game away, come back home and right the ship. But yeah, I think, with Mark Scheifele out, that's a big loss, obviously, for Winnipeg. You lose your center who's got more career playoff goals than anybody else on the Jets. Love the Blues at home. Also, first period angle in this one. All 5 games in this series have gone over in the first period.
Very good. Excellent. Thanks for that. Is this too rich? Carolina, second round. $1.50 series price against Washington. Logan Thompson's been great. Washington has home ice. And I don't know about the Anderson situation because I don't think you can trust Kochetkov, the backup in Carolina. What say you?
Yeah, the price doesn't excite me. I would like Carolina to win the series. Look, I didn't, even if Freddie was in, I wouldn't trust him. Like, this is one where there's flaws on both sides. Logan Thompson has answered the question. He struggled. We talked about it a lot during the season, Paulie and Mitch. 3 goals or more. They were going through stretches of giving up goals, both Thompson and Charlie Lindgren. But the goaltending right now, better in Washington. I like the team. I like the Carolina Hurricanes as a team more than I like the Washington Capitals. It's going to be a nasty series. I mean, they had some nasty ones down the stretch. Again, maybe on price, I would, maybe you take Washington. I would rather see what the line is and play this series to go both 6 and 7 games. Mm-hmm. You're going to get plus money, kind of like what I did with Toronto, Ottawa. I bet that series to go 6 and 7. It was plus 200 for both. So I'll walk away, with a unit on that one. And that's the way I would approach Carolina, Washington.
All right. You said that it's going to be Dallas or VGK to come out of the West. Then of the teams remaining in the East, which team do you have?
Well, I guess I've got Florida right now. I mean, I really thought that they would be gassed, but, I think that I think Florida will beat whether it's Toronto or Ottawa. I'm really hoping that they play Ottawa next round because then we got the battle of the Tkachuk brothers, and that would just be great theater. But I just think Florida's built, the Brad Marchand addition is great, has been great for this team. They're nasty. Like they can play any style. Sergei Bobrovsky was outstanding against Tampa, and they're super deep. So for me, yeah, I didn't think it would be Florida. I thought Tampa would win. But if I've got to bet a team right now that Florida is in, I'll take Florida to go through the East.
All right. If Ottawa wins the game tonight and Toronto is laying a big price in Game 7, what is your plan for that game? Would you take Ottawa plus 1.5 goals? Would you take them outright? How would you want to fade Toronto?
Well, I mean, I would probably just play Ottawa small just because I've already guaranteed myself a profit, with the series plays. So I couldn't bet Toronto. It would be Ottawa or nothing if you're going to play a side in a Game 7 if we get to that.
All right, very good. That
Good
was
luck,
awesome,
my friend.
man.
Good job.
Follow Jonathan on X. He's at West Coast HKY. Enjoy the games tonight. Best of luck.
Absolutely, guys. And I'll be live tweeting out plays as well. So, yeah, stick around and we'll have stuff during the games.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
There you go. He was on the Progressive Guest Line.
Well, I want to see Florida-Toronto. I think
that'd be awesome.
That would be. And I think Carolina-Washington's fascinating as well.
Sure.
Especially if Anderson's out. I don't see how you can say all the right things about day-to-day. That was a brutal hit that Timo Meier laid him out.
I agree.
So how about this? J.J. Redick. Sometimes this is hard to admit. We lost to a better team. That's the reality. Also, we must be in championship shape next season.
Oh, well, huh. Who's he taking a shot at there?
And Halliburton's dad is going to stay away from Pacers games. I thought that was coming, too. Like, that was crazy.
I'm glad Tyrese called him out.
He had to, right.
He's
the only guy that I couldn't believe Shaq. He's defending him. Comes with the territory. He kept repeating. Comes with you. You can't. You're a fan. You can't come on the floor and taunt a player to his face.
Of course not.
You can't do that.
Never ever
Comes
is that
with the
acceptable.
territory. Barkley was stunned. So come on, man. You got to be kidding. They even apologized. Halliburton said, "Yeah, Pops was wrong. Bad move by him."
Sure.
Now he's staying away.
His own son called him out, but Shaq thinks it's okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
I see some people wanted him banned for like a year, which I didn't have a problem with either. Just say you gotta sit up in the suite. Then you can't be a front row if you're gonna act like that.
Gut reaction to this: the Pacers plus 2.5 games minus 130.
Oh, very good. I like that. Yeah, we're gonna have a series here. It's not gonna be easy for the Cavs.
Yep. J.R. Starkus on the program coming up next. He will make a drink live on the air that you can easily have on hand this weekend at a Kentucky Derby party, and I promise it's going to be excellent. That's next here on VSiN.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.